Am I going to hit the wall or what?
Here we go. Something. Uh-oh. Should I put up?
All right, so this is Game Theory Gang. Do you guys want to play a game?
Yes. Sign me up.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to explain why crypto is doomed, and I want you guys all to keep interrupting me and just yelling out just 2 words.
No, I agree.
Liar.
3 words.
It's
Store of value. All right, that's the game. Is I'm going to explain why crypto is doomed, and I want you guys to interrupt me in the middle. Perfect. ChrispyMan's already. Yes.
No,
Store of value.
I agree with you. It's doomed. It's doomed.
All right.
Value.
And
You'll never get a word in with us 3, Maddie.
No, we interrupt each other all the time.
Well, that's true.
We do not interrupt each other.
Yeah, maybe believe.
I want to believe. All right.
The truth is out there.
Crypto is doomed.
Store of
And
It's not doomed.
Richard tweeted about it. Let me tell you this cool story about this guy, Richard Hart, who's literally fighting for your rights of free speech on the blockchain. Probably one of the most important things in our generation in today in the world. And all anybody wants to talk about is store of value. Store of value is only half of the equation.
That's all the
Community.
Store value.
What's the rest of it?
The other half of it is.
Why are we yelling?
I think I had noise cancellation on, I think.
Now we're good. We're yelling.
The reason why store of value is it's only half of the equation because the other half is pay for performance. So you have money as a system that helps transfer value between people. It's a unit of account. It's a store of value, right? Store of value. That's what you guys kept saying that crypto is all about. I was trying to explain why crypto is doomed or how it could be saved by like...
Is store of value.
Exactly. So I feel like that's been my attitude so far, is like just believing this idea that we need to worry about the store of value. And I think the store of value problem is solved. I think we got Hex, we got Ethereum, we got Bitcoin, we got lots of things competing to store value. And I think the part that's missing from crypto is the programmable money part. The part where people create more goods and services.
The way I always thought about it was all these coins, every coin can truly be a store of value. I mean, really, honestly, it's not too hard to make a coin that basically just shoots to the moon. If you have enough money to back it, you can make any coin do like a 10.
Bro, that is a really cool story, but how does that make the world a better place? All that's doing is that's accounting.
But here's my point.
Storing value.
Here's my point, Maddie, real quick. This is
the
point I was getting to. Any coin can do a 10,000x. The question is, why do I hold on to that coin after it does a 10,000x? And for me with Hex is that I hold on to it because it makes more of itself.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is like, the reason why Hex is or isn't a good store of value is because of the amount of goods and services that you can get for it. We've seen that fluctuate wildly because we only have half of the equation right now in crypto. To have programmable money, to have digital money and a system that is decentralized from the government that is corrupt and technology companies that are corrupt, you need to have both sides of the equation. You need the accounting side, which is the store of value, and you need people being motivated to do goods and services. If you pay a doctor $1 trillion, he's not a doctor anymore. So doing a 10,000x isn't enough.
Maddie, are we still on the part where we're supposed to yell at you? I'm confused. You're saying
Absolutely.
You're saying good things about crypto. You're supposed to be saying negative things. We're supposed to argue with you.
Crypto has nothing to do with the pay for performance side right now. It has nothing to do with the goods and services. That's why we don't use it to pay for goods and services, is because it's not motivating anybody to do anything except hoarding money, which doesn't make people more productive. So we have a scaling
True.
problem. You can get, you can have a utility for gamblers.
NFTs
That's what we've
solve
been
this.
talking about.
NFTs solve this.
NFTs can solve identity and maybe some other things too. Art doesn't really need to be solved with blockchain, but it's cool.
Experiences. Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? You can't prejudge art like that. Art can be anything. Of course.
I
it's real.
love art, but art is not the thing that government is trying to shut down right now, and that no crypto media is covering. We don't have very many people who are saying the types of things that we say here, and
The
so I
only
think
reason-
it's really critical.
The only
8%.
reason why art is valuable is because in TradFi, traditional finance, art is used as a money laundering mechanism.
And that too, I think, is an accounting thing that's being plugged in to a. I mean, that's really the reason that they're laundering money, is so that they can store value over time. If they had capital efficiency, if the drug lords had capital efficiency, they would spend the money immediately and not risk it being deflated by your local government or the U.S. or literally anything else.
Hey, I've got one. A utility that's legit, and I think our last hope for it is with crypto, with DeFi in particular, is privacy, right? Because it's like, I don't know if you guys saw, it was maybe a week ago, Jim Jordan from my home state of Ohio, had a great clip, and he was talking about how the FBI, I believe, and or the CIA had colluded, basically had this special website, this portal, the secret portal, where Bank of America was providing purchasing information for anyone that had been in the DC area from like January 4th to like January 8th for anything that they bought. Anything they bought. Just if you were a visitor, just maybe you're on a school trip and you're visiting the Capitol. Didn't matter. If you were in that area and you banked with Bank of America, that information went to the government. So they could have information on you of what you were buying. So,
That's
that's
a very current example.
Scary stuff, right? Scary stuff. And, whereas there can be, I can't remember what the term was for it, but there's a special, is it privacy pools that have been bantered about? I can think KDP was talking about it with potentially on the roadmap for PulseX.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so relevant that you brought up this example of like the DC hack, where basically all you had to do was travel there. You didn't have to live there. It wasn't location based. It was like corporations are tracking you and they're storing all of your information, and it's only a matter of time until that leaks out, which is a major issue for freedom and privacy and freedom. They go together. But the problem is not with our infrastructure, and it's not with one politician. It's a systemic problem that the people who are creating the financial system, they are incentivized to spy on you because they're coming from an advertising model, which is also fits in with this crypto as accounting idea. Is like, oh, 10,000x, like price is what matters. That is half the equation, is like getting people to want something or hear about something, having an attention market and all these kinds of things. But like, you still have to have something of substance to market to people. And when you're missing that mechanism, I would say that traditional finance is just as broken as crypto is right now. But there's hope.
So crypto's not doomed.
Well, it depends if you define crypto as a bullshit centralized middleman thing where literally Coinbase and Kraken and anybody who's been left to survive doesn't fucking care if true crypto fails. They are going to let a bad precedent get set, or they're going to come and fight on the Richard Hart case. And so far, they ain't shown up, and Richard is calling people dumb, like aggressively. So that means we have a big problem. Like if Richard is yelling that we have a problem, we have a problem. Not just for him, and not just because we like his ideas or we own his crypto, but because like as a humanity, we have to decide if we're going to stand up for our financial rights or not.
What did Richard tweet?
I
missed
didn't
it.
even see it.
I want to say
until
something. This
tonight.
game sucks. Those are 3 words. This game sucks.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
guys
having
don't stick to
fun
the
playing those
rules.
games.
Maddie keeps saying positive stuff. You guys are saying
Yeah.
positive stuff. I mean,
I
I'm
thought we were
getting
supposed to
confused.
flood him. I gave up on
Are
that
you-
because
are you
he
guys-
seemed supportive.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I wanted to talk shit.
Richard's
Well,
tweet
what's
was
new,
awesome.
Briz?
I have to say that's the most spider.
Richard's tweet was awesome.
It was awesome because he's calling. I think what you're trying to do is motivate everybody to action who's listening. I'm not sure if you're talking to the right audience though, because we're pretty motivated already. I think, but but the idea is that people.
I don't know.
If people don't get out there and is this your point? That if people don't get involved and press the issue, the rights will be taken away from you.
No, I think like it's worse than that. I think that there's a systemic problem with crypto because there is no pay for performance mechanism because people are not using it as programmable money. And so I'm saying if we advocate for crypto as we know it, it will fail because it will turn into TradFi. We've already seen this with Bitcoin. We've already seen this with like lots of examples where mass psychology, people think that they tried something, but they didn't really try it.
Vitalik's been compromised by the World Economic Forum.
All
right, yeah. So you're not saying
Yeah.
crypto goes to zero. What you're saying is it's being co-opted by bad actors that aren't us.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the value of crypto if not enough people can win from it. Then we have a problem.
Normal, regular people. Yeah.
Well, I think
Okay, I'm catching up with you now. I'm catching up with you now. What you're trying to lay down, because you really, because we've seen this already with Bitcoin, right? We're seeing that I'm only going off of illustrious leaders like Sami, because I have not done this research myself. I know Briz is still in Bitcoin, but if I was to listen to everything I'm hearing, and of course it could be very wrong, right? Lots of people sold their Bitcoin, and it ended up in corporate hands, and so they've almost co-opted Bitcoin. Is that your
Oh
thinking?
yeah, Roger Ver just came out with a book, hijacking Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean this is.
And they
even the core Bitcoiners don't even know that Bitcoin was hijacked. People are listening to Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor, today, listen, today there was a Bitcoin core dev, I believe, saying that Michael Saylor cut off their funding. There was a one of these funds that was going to donate, and Saylor said he would spike the price down if they did it.
Donate to
This
what?
is coming from a core dev.
Wow.
Yes, Bitcoin has been hijacked.
Wait.
Roger Ver wrote a book about it. It just came out this week.
If
Everybody
they
should get it.
donated to what? He would cut off funding?
You know how there's like 5 dudes that make sure the Bitcoin code keeps getting updated because it's shitty spaghetti code like Twitter.
Okay.
Yep.
They need to get paid. So it's like a tragedy of the commons situation.
Oh, he said he would spike Bitcoin down if they got money donated to the.
Yeah, like might as well bring up the tweet.
There has to
Makes
be
no
more to the
sense.
story.
And here's another compromise.
I'm confused.
They got Richard Ping into Binance, and Richard Ping is a bug-eating WEF member.
Yeah, there's lots of crazy rabbit holes. I mean, back to your original premise, though, Maddie. It's like what sprang to my addled brain, not drug addled, but lack of calorie brain. I'm 17 days into my cleanse, but
Respect.
utility was kind of like the forgotten like stepbrother, right? Like as far
Glowing,
as
Toby.
nobody cared about utility. It's like utility was nonsense. Everybody just wants price to go up, right? And that's the narrative to kind of get people through the door. And there is opportunity for that to happen to you in crypto. But to keep people here, we need to pay attention to the little stepbrother, right? And because utility, I think, is what's going to give it longevity and make it, a functional part of a new world order,
Like-
dare I say, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like we don't even have a way to cash out without going through the legacy system because people don't accept crypto. Because crypto is failing with half of its mission. The mission of being a good system of accounting. Well, it even sucks at that because it doesn't have privacy yet. Although Pulse Chain, it seems like Richard's publicly hinting at it that we're gonna get that. But what I'm saying is that yeah, there's a bigger problem here. But I've been basically, this is one of the things that I wanted to start talking about publicly is this is something I've been working to solve and haven't been speaking about it yet.
You might be wrong. How about that?
Please.
Hey, so on the surface, I get what you're talking about. On the one hand, we're thinking really great devs, highly moral, highly ethical. This guy's stopping them. Let me give you a different story. The other side of the story, possibly. I don't know any of these people. I don't know what their real motives are. The other side of the story is you don't want conflicts of interest where an ETF pays a dev. I don't want somebody paying a dev that's doing work for me on a token that I can't figure out the spaghetti code and have them insert a backdoor or something like that. Right?
You don't know. So first of all, you don't know Odell. And second of all, he says here like here it's in the original tweet. Can't wait to see the excuses people will make for Sailor.
No. I'm not saying that, but you have to, like, on the surface without knowing the people. On the surface, you have to understand.
You got to know Odell. He's one of the Bitcoin core devs.
So what does that mean?
He's the not crazy one. There's another one that Richard's always beefing with, but.
He's the not crazy one. All right. My point is, I'm not impugning this guy's reputation. I don't know him, but I'm saying there is also this thing, particularly in corporate America, right? Conflict of interest.
So I love that you're rebutting my argument, and that's how we get the best discussion going. This had nothing to do with like the weeks and months and years that I've been like working on this issue. This is just something that came out 8 hours ago. So yeah, like we could say like, yeah, Odell's full of it. And, there's every reason for like ETFs to not give money to Bitcoin core devs, and like Sailor, is an angel and all that. Like, but that doesn't mean that crypto isn't broken.
That's an interesting way to put that all together. Thank you.
Yeah. Crypto's
I see how it all flows.
But they still allow you to buy Bitcoin and to transfer it to a private wallet. So as long as we have the ability to do that, when
they tried to make that illegal in the past month in Europe, and it passed.
Well,
because people don't care about what crypto really is. All they care about is store of value. And that's why you guys keep interrupting me with store of value.
Europeans shouldn't be allowed to control their own money. Let me just put that out there.
All right.
But until they shut off the sending to external wallet feature, we're okay.
Yeah, wait till they stop accepting like they did with Coast. I'm telling you, man, we could argue about this all night, and I hope we do. I'm telling you that crypto is broken and we need to fix it, or the world will descend into chaos and darkness.
Well, until Richard gets compromised, I feel like Richard has done his part to fix it. What about Justin's son? Is he compromised?
I think that the entire field of crypto is like kind of building only in one direction of store of value. And I think that, like the example of the doctor that I gave earlier, when you pay a doctor $1 trillion, they're not a doctor anymore. Unfortunately, because how cool would it be to like pay everybody $1 trillion? But like, that's not how economics works. And like the government can lie to you all they want about like how economics works. And it's going to sound really good for everybody to get $1 trillion. I collect $100 trillion bills from Zimbabwe. That is the largest bill ever printed. I have one about 10 feet away from me right now.
I had a similar
It's a real thing.
when my portfolio started like really increasing, like, well, I always told everyone about crypto. Like, I'm always onboarding. I just onboarded like 4 people in the last 2 days. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. If I onboard like everybody, then who's going to do the services that I want to pay for? Right? Like,
Correct.
we're all going to be rich.
Everybody rich.
Brisology, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
And then,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
and then the whole like political thing where they're doing like, I won't get into politics. I'm sorry.
I knew you guys would get it. Yeah, like this isn't. I mean, this is pretty spicy, but it's
Kind of
true.
need poor people. We kind of need the labor class.
Well, there's another argument though, because it's like what was the whole thing with like a the free money for everybody, like the something living wage or like
UBI, Universal
UBI,
Basic Income.
Universal Basic Income. So like that whole argument, you know, I've watched some interesting panels talk about that, some conferences and stuff. And to me, as like a hardcore capitalist, you know, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. It's like, you know, to me, it just seems so counterintuitive that you would just like, if you gave people money and it's like, we kind of saw it in the short term with COVID and how, you know, all the people were given the $1,200 stimmies. And then, you know, a lot of people just didn't go back to work, right? They were just able to get free money for a long period of time. Now, however,
excellent example.
Something that was interesting to me is, you know, and in these conferences, and I wish I had a link to one, but it's been a few years since I even watched it. It was talking about how it would take time, right? And that eventually, as people got used to having their basic needs met, they would be able to pursue things that they were more passionate about. So you would have doctors that want to be doctors. They're not being doctors because they want to be rich. You have people that want to do X, Y, or Z because, like I saw this video last night, and this guy that owns a pizza shop in New Jersey, it's not about the money. He loves making pizza that he learned about from his grandma in Sicily. It's like it's passion, and it's like you could see it with his customers. It's like there are people out there that do that, and that's going to continue. But it seemed to me like their idea was that more people would be able to do it. They wouldn't have to work a job just to make money, to put gas in a car that they can't afford, to get to a job that they hate, to round trip it and come back and do it all again the next day. So I like the concept.
Yes,
there's part of me that's just like, if people all have the money they needed, how many are going to work at all?
So let me respond to this. So I believe, and this is kind of untested, this is unknown, I believe, basically, yeah, you can pay people, but yeah, what you really need is for people to have that intrinsic motivation. And so the problem is middlemen. The problem is systemic middlemen. So if you cut out the middlemen, which like is growing exponentially, so like the government is growing exponentially, and like middlemen, they don't have to do anything except be really good middlemen, which is like your advertising, you're like psychopathic leaders that are like extracting value without creating it. That's the problem. And crypto actually solves that. Crypto actually can remove middlemen, but you need a mechanism built in so that people are motivated to use crypto, not just as an accounting tool, but as a motivation tool. Which that's how money works now. The way that money works now, I would argue, is that the majority, like 50% of Americans, don't have $1,000 in their savings. What does that tell us? Store of value is a really cool story, and it works out really well for individuals, but on a mass scale, people don't even save because they're so busy working just the right amount to create the goods and services that they consume. And so literally, like, that's where the system of crypto could evolve into, is basically to fill the role that work fills. And that's what pay for performance means, is like, if I go to my job, I have a contract. Why isn't it a smart contract? There's no reason. There's no reason for it to not be a smart contract, because money's digital and programmable now. So basically what I've been working on that I'm so excited about in this critical moment, I think, where today Richard is tweeting all this stuff about like crypto's screwed, which I agree. You know, are basically creating a new version of Time Pays Me, where instead of just paying yourself to have a behavior change, to do something productive, you can pay other people. That's pay for performance.
With my money?
Yes. Like you would if you were spending your money using crypto the way it was meant to remove middlemen.
Why do I want to give other people my money?
For services, goods and services. Or for
Because that's what you do with money. You give it to other people in exchange for goods and services.
Yeah.
Okay. True.
That's true. Right. So he's just basically explaining like a way that crypto could actually be used as intended. And that's the next step, right? To get beyond store of value to where people are actually using it in the real world. And then, and especially with DeFi in particular, because it's like I saw someone in chat mention about, WeChat in China and how CBDCs are already a thing. And it's like, that's coming. Like, whether you like it or not, it's coming. And like, to circle back to like the Jim Jordan point about them collecting data on how you're spending your money with your credit cards and whatever, so they can have you on a list and they consider, hey, you're a white heterosexual Christian. You could potentially be a terrorist, right? I mean, like crazy shit. Like, you guys got to go watch that clip.
Oh, dude.
It's nuts. And it's like, so, to be able to position ourselves as, influencers in the crypto space or educators or whatever you want to call us, it's like we need to continue to beat that drum about how DeFi brings solutions to real world issues, privacy being one, because that is going to be paramount in you maintaining your freedoms as an individual. Because if they know everything about you, they're already mining all your data and selling it. And, there's been some incremental changes to where people can kind of pull that back, right? From different services and what have you. But generally speaking, it's like the boiling frog. People have been lulled into this sense of like clicking all the terms of service on shit just like without thinking over and over and over, and they don't care. They don't really see how it affects their life because they don't see the forest for the trees. They like, hey, I got on TikTok, yay! What did I sign? I don't care. I'm on TikTok now. I'll scroll my life away and then be indoctrinated with all this nonsense.
I'm not allowed to use PayPal.
Maddie,
I'm not allowed to use it because I sold Bitcoin miners.
Maddie, your mic is so hot. I wanted to say one of the things I agree with is I hate the culture of crypto that is basically you need to sell the tops and buy the bottoms, because I keep round tripping my money, and that sucks because I'm actually like holding on to my money. I'm like, this is a store of value, and I hate that we have to sell at the peaks just so we can buy back at the bottoms. And I really wish we would just stop using stable coins. You know what I mean? If we all bought cryptos and like stopped going into stable coins, we could like actually be rich. We could all be rich together.
Not everybody gets to be rich unless people are more productive. Period. End of story. Everything else is accounting. And so without, but the good news is we already have a system that works really well for motivating people. It's called paying people for performance. And it's used with billions of people, and it's called a job. It's called working. And all we need to do to make crypto more valuable, but also to make it so that people care about it and it scales, we just have to pay for performance instead of only focusing on store of value. Hey, we can still care about store of value. Store of value is still cool.
It's part of the equation, for sure.
But it's half of the equation. But if we don't have another half, then we're just in a Ponzi casino.
Yeah, Maddie, your mic is a little hotter than the rest of us, apparently, according to chat. You seem okay to me, but maybe it's because I'm deaf.
All right.
No, I feel like you're shouting at me. And
how about this? Is that better?
You're trying to hammer the
Is that
point.
better?
I think that's perfect.
Is that good? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't used to have this turned up so high till you guys taught me how to use my mic better. So
I feel like I'm being scolded for something.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good.
What did I do wrong, man?
we're
Stop
playing a
yelling at me.
game. This is the 107th episode of Game Theory Gang.
All right.
107. Hey, no, Maddie, back to your point about having actually using crypto to pay for goods and services. I mean, a throwback to last week with Anders, and much love to Anders. I think he's doing some pretty cool stuff with Love.io. I actually have looked at it in fits and starts over the years and took a little deeper dive this week. I mean, that's kind of what he's doing that with Love.io, right? It's like, I mean, it's a way to tip, various people for various things that you like, and it's akin to like what Brave browser was doing, where you could earn Brave token or whatever, and then you could send that to various websites that you supported, blogs or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Steemit's a pretty good example of pay for performance, but they fucked it up because they put a bunch of middlemen in there, I think. And yeah, the founders were greedy. They weren't like Richard.
So what do you think about this then? What about
this has got to be easier?
Crypto
All this
won't
easier,
be easy to spend until the middlemen make it easy to spend. Like, for example, it's not going to be easy to spend until we have a point of sale mechanism for crypto.
Well, I think we need a smart contract mechanism. So
yes,
I could demonstrate.
Yeah, but
I could demonstrate this technology.
You have to get 1,000 different merchants to all like figure it out.
No, that's
a single
we don't need that.
middleman to give it to all the merchants.
Have you ever heard of GoFundMe?
Yeah, the middleman.
Yeah, that can be easily built on the blockchain without middlemen.
Yeah, totally. It could just all be code,
and it could be viral.
How does that get into Trader Joe's? How does that get into Trader Joe's?
Because literally, like, the goal is not to get into Trader Joe's. The goal is to get everybody to use a system without middlemen. The way that you do that,
Joe's, right?
It's cheaper.
Trader Joe's is a bunch of people.
Well, think about it. If you cut out the middlemen,
we don't have those.
I want to buy some bread, Maddie.
You want bread?
Trader Joe's with crypto.
It's the
with
free
crypto.
Market.
I need Trader Joe's to accept crypto.
All right,
it's the free market.
Do you want me to explain it to you?
So it could be cheaper if you have a cheaper option. So if you cut out middlemen, you should be saving costs.
Okay,
right?
So Brisology could, in the real world, post an ad to say, or actually there might be like an NFT marketplace where like the offer is like bake bread in LA. And like, so somebody bakes bread and you pay them. It's literally something we do every day. So like, you don't have to think of it as crypto. The reason why crypto is so hard is because you can't just get a text message with a payment. Let me tell you something. If people weren't so obsessed with store of value, we'd already be using it. We'd already be using crypto for transactions. It's just nobody is incentivized to do that because all the founders haven't figured out that you can do GoFundMe and then you can cut yourself out of the equation. Like, that's kind of a selfless act, right? Like, but that's kind of what happens in all goods and services is like you have competition, but you have to invent the wheel first. The wheel was used for pottery for 300 years before it was used for transportation. So literally the killer app for inventing the wheel was many generations.
I still think we need a middleman like Visa to make their point of sale have not only debit cards and credit cards, but then a crypto option. That's the only way it's going to happen. Because there's no way all these stores are going to.
You're thinking like a Potter.
Well, they're not going to do it until someone leads them to do it.
I think Briz is not wrong. I think he's being pragmatic. I think that's a stepwise progression toward what I think the idealists in the room are wanting, which is just completely devoid of middlemen. And I think the way that you do that ultimately in a free market is you beat them at cost, right? So if Visa provides an
There you
option
go,
to use
Briss.
crypto, and that's a step into the right a step in the right direction. But you're still paying, like, maybe instead of a 4% fee for vendors, they only have to pay a 3% fee if they take your Visa crypto card, right? Well, if you figure out a DeFi mechanism to do this, and it's all code and there's no Visa involved, it's just done, and now it's
Yes.
0%.
Yes.
Then which option are you going to use as a consumer?
Well, it can't be
you're
0.
1%, or
It
I'm
can't
sorry,
be
as
0.
as a vendor. Well, or 0.5, whatever. Something to undercut the competition is the
The
only way
trick-
it's going to work in free market.
All right, you want me to start dropping some secrets?
Do it, man.
Because at this point, I don't care. I just want to see the thing get built. 40,000 people watched me break up with my crypto best friend this week, and like pretty much every developer I know who I respect like reached out to me, including all of you guys like reached out to like ask me if I was okay. But really, the game theory is the most important part, and I really think that. So Toby, what was your last point?
I forgot. I just got hung up on the fact that I thought I was your best crypto friend, and then it's like, so I'm like I'm a little heartbroken, but it wasn't me. Or maybe I'm a real life friend, so that's even better.
He said, he said dev friend, dev.
I mean,
I was
like
saying basically to be
it was
cheaper.
0%. You were saying that the
You
cost
said
of production.
you were going to give out.
And
your
that's a
idea.
typical. Yeah. So one of the really important aspects, I think, of scaling a system like pay for performance on the blockchain would be that you would have to incentivize people to talk about it. So like a referral system. We saw that work really well with Hex once upon a time. And so having like a perpetual referral system, if you're not creating a token, you can do that without being a security because you're just doing a fee share. And so if it hadn't, what is it that makes people talk about something on YouTube? It's because they have a bag of it.
Right.
Period. End of story. People are getting paid. Pay for performance works. We know it works. It's just like snake oil salesmen are like telling us, like.
By the way, have you guys
we
heard
need
of
middlemen.
Hex crypto?
Hex?
Yeah, it's super sick. Just wanted to put that in there.
I love it. I named my channel after Hex.
Nice bounces off the lows this week too, if anyone was paying attention to the TA of it all.
Well
right.
done, Price Hawks.
You said you had a thing to help, you're developing something, but I also have a great entrepreneur idea that anybody can take, and I think it's great, and I think it actually accomplishes 100% what you want done. Can I say it real quick?
Pitch to me, please.
All right, this is my idea. I had this idea for what I wanted to do when I was like a working class wage slave. I was like, this was my idea, but I was always too much of a pussy to go do it. Here's the idea. Business to business sales. And what you would do is go into any small business and you go in there and you go, hey, are you guys accepting Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? And they're going to be like, what the heck is a Bitcoin? Or, they're like, what's cryptocurrency? And then that's where you go in and go, oh, it's the hottest new thing. It's the newest type of money. And it's just like a check or a credit card or cash. You will want to accept this as money. And then you go, and then you just basically tell them, hey, for a small fee, maybe $500, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000. It's up to you. You go, I will help you set your business up to accept crypto. And then all you do is you walk them through it. You give them a wallet. Maybe you have like little tablets, like little like cheap $100 Google tablets. And you go, I'll sell you a tablet. And you put on like a wallet onto the tablet and you set up the store so they can accept crypto. And, and then the accounting is all up to them. And then they pay you, I don't know, between $500 and $2,000 because you help set the store up to accept crypto. But the problem with that is that most mainstream stores like Walmart, CVS, Target, they're not even gonna listen to you. So it really helps with small businesses and like maybe like a stereo shop, maybe like an auto mechanic, something like that. You can just go, hey, I will help set you up for crypto for a small fee. And I figured, you could do this in any town. So, like, even if you went on vacation somewhere, you can go hit up some stores and make some money. And I don't feel bad about giving out this idea because, I mean, this should be happening in every single city in America, every single city in the world. And there's so many stores out there. It's just like this is a real business idea, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think that really absolutely fits with like the pay for performance idea. And you can do it with QR codes, text messages. You don't need any special equipment. It immediately scales to do what you're saying, which is getting people to pay you to teach them how to use
And the
crypto.
whole thing was like, yeah, you can show them on their phone, but if you provide them with a tablet that they maybe can buy from you, it's like boom, that becomes the store tablet, and like that's like the one cost.
I mean,
other than
Toby kind of does that now, in a way.
See all those boxes? Those are a bunch of tablets I'm shipping out.
No, you negotiate discounts and like paying crypto and like teach people how to use crypto with their businesses.
I have done some of that.
Yeah, it's badass.
So yeah, so the thing is too is I just thought of this as Briz was pitching his idea, which I think is a good one, and I see where you're going to, Briz, with the idea of the tablet, because it's like the form factor is similar to like the little point of sale devices that people are so used to now with the keypad and the tap to pay or the chip insert or the swipe thing. Like so people are used to seeing that. So if you have like another terminal next to that one that people can utilize if they want to pay crypto, then that's interesting. And then, in case it's a little uncomfortable with them to pay with their phone, they're just like, oh, well, what's this tablet? What's this other device for? And then you can have a little sign on it that says pay here with crypto, whatever. And then, then the store owner could explain that. But the other piece is because the big box stores and places like that are less likely to adopt that. If the price model is such that you're going to be able to quantify how much people can save by paying with crypto, and the store owners can save in fees that they'd be paying to a credit card company, then you're actually giving the little guy a chance. Because I was in the pet industry. I was huge with like aquarium stuff back in the 90s. And what we watched, like just systemically, all the cool little mom and pop aquarium shops, which had like, super geeked out guys that had biology degrees, and they really wanted to teach everybody like from stem to stern on like how to put an aquarium together properly. They knew all about the species and what to mix and whatnot. All of them went away, all of them, because PetSmart and Petco and all these big chains came in, and they couldn't compete because, they were making their money off of the dry goods and things like that. Livestock was not as lucrative, and they just couldn't compete. So eventually we lost all of that diversity. And it's like, and that's kind of nationwide with mom and pop stores and stuff too. It's like so many got gobbled up by the Walmarts of the world. So this would be a way, and actually a demographic to focus on would be smaller businesses.
Exactly.
And then give that to them as an advantage, right? A first mover advantage. Plus, like, it's got the grassroots DeFi feel to it. So yeah, I mean, I think these are great things that I would love to see happening to get broader adoption.
I think it's a great idea. I don't think focusing on small businesses is enough. I think we need I think crypto needs to not be forgotten as more than just getting rich. Programmable money.
This is a piece of the puzzle.
Was the whole point. And what's the first thing you program? This is what Andreas Antonopoulos used to say. The first thing you program into money is store of value. The second thing then is up to you. But there's lots of apps.
We need interest.
The first thing that was programmed into the internet was email. And if you were there, you might have confused the two. You might have thought that the internet was only email.
Hey, can we tell a story about that? Because I'm pretty sure Toby might have been alive when they actually came out with email.
I would love to hear it.
Yes, I was.
Maddie, you probably weren't alive.
I'm a young buck.
I heard the internet was invented for.
I was
porn.
around. I think I'm the oldest guy on the stream. How old are you, Crispy?
And Briz, I'm just 58.
You're oh, okay. Well, you got me by a few years.
I'm
I thought I had you.
62.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Yeah, well, we didn't tell.
Whippersnapper.
No, but I think
But
that
yeah,
from
the
the
early days.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
they-
I'm 10 years old and crypto isn't stressful at all.
So here's the old story, right? Literally, this is how it was, right? I'm not even sure most people watching this can understand this, but I'm going to try to explain it to you. Imagine you're in the woods without your phone, and there's no connection. You have no connection with anything. That's how we used to live,
All the
Right.
time.
all the time. And you had to go somewhere, and if you had, to actually use a phone, and if they had a phone, right? And if you got stuck on the side of the road, you needed somebody's help. You couldn't. There was nobody to call, right? Or you were walking. You'd find somebody with a phone. And so one day, we just hear, "Hey, everybody's getting computers," and we were like, well, "What are those?" Right? Because we've seen them, big things and all this stuff, right? And all of a sudden, these computers start showing up all over the place. And then, not too long after, they said, "Hey, you can send messages on computers." We're like, "What? That's crazy talk. How would I do that?" Well, Briz has a name, and I didn't know the details, right? And so you type in his name, and it automatically finds it. It was like magic. It was magic, right? But that's akin to where we are today because we really don't know what's going to come next. I don't know if we go full on Planet of the Apes and the world ends and there's some tablet somewhere that's the only thing that works, or we go in a different direction and we're living in Star Trek world and everything's metered because all the value is stored and nobody cares about money. I don't know, but there's a lot of different ways for things to go, and you guys are talking about some of those, right?
Thanks.
So I mean, I don't need something that turns my lights on and off for me, but it's kind of like it. I mean, I'm telling, some device to do something everywhere. I kind of like that I don't have to start my car, other than push a button. I have to worry about the phone, where my my key is. Anyways, there's probably some things we haven't thought of yet too, and we're just waiting for those breakthrough moments. We were talking about it earlier. That's why I say NFTs are such a key thing, because there's something of ownership. It's an ownership thing, right? Where you can actually prove something by having
Yes.
something like that.
Identity.
Some sort of identity. You did say that, man. I mean, I don't know what it'll be like. I don't know. I don't know if I'm talking about some Orwellian, freaking crazy socialism stuff, or dystopia, or whether it's paradise. But some changes are going to happen, right? Because there are places that you can go and you just get metered in and out. There's no, you don't pay for anything other than you walked in and walked out, right?
Yep.
True.
Yes, trade
Remember,
Mo
do you remember
James.
your AIM handle?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah, it was crispy.
You do.
Yeah. I think a lot of cool stuff is going to get invented to wrap up this thread as we move on to what people are really here for, which is store of value and ChrispyMan's glory that has befallen his token. I think, yeah. So I've gone in the past week since I saw you guys last. I've gone into the deepest despair and then great hope for crypto as being programmable money and not just a store of value, because there are so many developers that seem to really care about these things that we care about in our community. So seeing Richard tweet that we're screwed, it just really fit with what I've seen. So can't wait to roll out the code here and get the community's audit and start paying people to perform, because I think that's the future. So
I'm tired of the teasing, Maddie. We're ready.
and that's
Right.
without a token. I should emphasize that
No
that's
sacrifice, no
not been
token,
done
right?
yet, and no sacrifice and no token. So staying true to the to those ideals, and but I also know that there has been some super exciting stuff happening that ChrispyMan is an expert in. He had an amazing stream earlier today with Axis Alive. Who else was on there?
Randy Hilarski.
Randy Hilarski. That's right. Yeah, and you
Nope.
guys just crushed it. It was an amazing stream, and the price performance of these things that you guys have created is literally off the charts. So I can't wait to hear about the game theory and the liquidity providing breakthroughs that you guys have been having.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's all sorts of backstory having to do with trying to figure out how to build the pair liquidity up in the right direction, all that type of stuff. But honestly, God, I think the biggest thing is we're proving out Hart's law. We're beginning to see even more intricacies having to do with how efficient routing is done or not done. And the need for people, and this is probably the biggest tip I'd give anybody right now, is if you're going to go do a swap and something looks funny, go to different sites and go check out the slippage, because it's very easy. It's very easy for you to just push the button and get a really bad deal, and that's on any token. So there's a reason to go back to 9-inch and go do a swap on 9-inch directly, or 9mm, or to check Piteous, or to simply just stay on PulseX, right? But you got to go check that type of stuff. So those are the types of things I've been seeing.
So, ChrispyMan, I got a question. Is your coin liquidity bonded with the Solid X coin at all?
Yes, yes, but it's not
All right.
heavy. It's
Love
not
this.
heavy.
Axis, isn't it?
So yeah. Oh man, I tried. So yeah, there was a couple things that happened this week. So the number one bonding is Axis Fire for fire, right? Number two bonding is Pulse, right? But what I found was there's such a thing as having too many pairs, because it creates
because of the routing.
inefficiencies. Yeah, because of the routing and inefficiency, and they don't get all hit, and there's different things happening at different times. It really complicated the picture. But yeah. Now I do have some Solid X up there with it as well, but it's not the primary pair. But here's the thing: does it have to be the primary pair to feel the effect? Axis token is primarily paired with Solid X.
Yeah. So you are by proxy. Because of the interchangeability of Fire and Axis, and the interchangeability between Axis and Solid X, it creates a huge effect between Fire and Solid X. But yeah, it makes perfect sense how you're saying Hart's law and everything predicts that the routing would get all inefficient if there were too many pools to route through, because that's taking more gas, first of all.
And then, Crispy, can you speak to the fucks thing at all? Because it seems to me like
PHUX.
Yes,
Family friendly
PHUX.
show.
Pucks. It seems like those trades don't show up on Deck Screener, and even if it's routing through a pair, even if part of the trade is routing through PHUX, it won't show up. So like Mateus. So I didn't know if maybe PHUX is not as efficient for token creators.
I don't think that's exactly true.
Okay.
Because now I'm not an expert in this stuff, right? So I only know what I know. And but I've seen like phantom trades come through, and I'm like, who the hell are all these people? Well, it's the bots, right? Yeah. But when you dig into it, you find out that it was a trade on PHUX that created the cascade. But it can look really crazy, because on some of the busy pairs like Pulse, you know, it's trade after trade after trade after trade, and you're like, what? Where is this all coming from? Right, and so it might be coming from there. Yeah, there's probably some there's probably some efficiencies that could be had for sure. Now, the Pidius guys do a pretty good job on bringing that all together, but they can't. You can't expect. Maybe one of the Dex guys can tell me you can expect this, but I'm feeling like you can't expect any one aggregator to have a handle on all pairs everywhere all the time, and
Right.
so there has to be some. Is there some algorithm methodology to how they build their intelligence to decide which way to go?
So it seems
Now,
like
with that,
9mm and PulseX are kind of the preferred places for liquidity to be.
and I wouldn't say that at all. I wouldn't
No?
say that at all. I would say maybe it's Betamax VHS
Got
going
it.
on, you know. And that, was there another one? Laserdisc, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But there's some different things going on with that. I mean, I think that if you have a token like SolidX is built on 9-inch,
Right.
the primary LP is there. Where do you think the best trade is?
Right. Makes sense.
Right, and
It's not in
so
the aggregator.
it could be, but
Could be,
it's not
yeah.
necessarily.
Right. Well, even with PulseX, it's
Why?
like, you know, if with eHex and pHex and all the RH tokens themselves, don't ask me why, because you would think just like, oh, I'll just go do all the
Why?
trading on PulseX, but it's like
I'll
Pateus.
tell you what.
More often than not, when I was swapping, like let's say I had some ink yield and I had enough, you know, I had all the ink I wanted and I wanted some more pHex or whatever, and I was swapping, I would always check Pateus against PulseX, and almost every time Pateus was a little bit better deal.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason for that, Maddie,
Same.
is that the math is complex. And so me looking at it and I eyeball it, I'm like, I'm just going to swap here. It's got a lot of liquidity. But there are opportunities out there. And like the PS guys could probably explain this a lot better. You know, there are opportunities to send pieces through different, different pools in theory, right? And the
Yes.
overall cost is less. And that's the purpose of being able to do that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I've definitely learned my lesson this week that I need to go check.
So is having more dexes like less efficient?
Oh yeah, of course. But that's
Yeah.
that's capitalism, right? Free market.
Well,
competition.
it's worth it to be decentralized, I guess.
Oh, 100%. I think so. And there's probably going to be some more coming up, and there's going to be changes to the existing ones, right?
So why is SolidX and Axis and Fire token, why are they all doing so well? Why did they do like a 5x or a 10x in the past week?
Well, let's start with
more buyers than sellers, or what?
let's start with please note
right?
the past 90% dips or 80% dips or whatever that we've had. So it's not like that. But yeah, more buyers than sellers. I mean, that's really the gist of it. And
more buyer than sellers.
No, I don't think that's accurate. Oh, I do think that Solid, the person that's been talked about, the fire whale, right? I do believe, of course, yes, he's bought a lot, and he said he was going to buy a lot, and his whole intention was to buy and to build this kind of an index together. That was the whole intent. But what was really crazy about it, is you go back and look at the buys, he would do it. It looks a lot like Hex. You know, this guy's like a Hex maxi, by the way, even though he also is wearing the pulse chain hat like the rest of us, right? Because we all did the same thing, right? We all put in for this pulse chain. Here we are, Hex lovers. I say to everybody, I mean, I'm talking about us, right? Here, we're all these Hex lovers, but yet at the same time, we got to wear this pulse chain hat. Anyways,
yes.
If you go back and look at those numbers, you'll see that a lot of this stuff that's happening, he does some buys, and then like the market's just chasing like a rabbit. They're chasing it like a dog after a rabbit.
Right. Yeah.
It's not all about that, but you're right. There's obviously some economic energy coming in.
Yeah, and it's like I think I saw. I mean, I didn't check the blockchain myself, but it's like I saw someone saying that like 93% was held by like the top wallet. So I think anytime you have a situation like that,
No, more like 99%.
Well,
Okay,
what,
whatever.
what's
Whatever
the
the
coin?
case,
Well, you know,
it goes.
let's put
It's
it this
5%
way:
amongst friends.
the Solid X guy, he just took a page out of the Richard Hart playbook.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's OA.
I mean, he's
all over
really
again.
just doing everything you kind of thought the OA would do, but he's actually doing it.
Yeah.
You know, just like how Richard Hart owns like 85% of all the Hex coins, the Solid X guy, he owns 20 million of the 21 million Solid X coins.
Right.
And
Hey, well, let me.
he's a really big ink farmer. I heard he's making something like $80,000 a day. Which
I hear that's honest work.
that sounds crazy,
I
but
heard
in
it
order
was-
to make that much money, he has to put a lot of money up into the farms. And then, you know, I heard he's just taking that ink money and pushing it into his own coin. And you know what? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I can't confirm those facts because I haven't looked at it, but I have heard the same things, right, from people that that's
Yeah.
going on.
Well, my point.
And,
My
And so
point is
every
this.
time someone every time someone sells their Solid X coin, he kind of goes in and scoops it up and removes them from the market. And
Right.
now, if anyone wants to buy in, they have to buy in at a higher price.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's
here's
not
here's my
super-
fantasy crypto theory, right? What if this is a test run? I'm not saying they're connected. He's connected with Richard Hart, but you can see this is a very small scale taking place with
Yeah.
a few different tokens. I kind of people were talking about this today in my chat and kind of brought up the idea. What if I consider this be kind of like some fantasy, kind of like test run for what could or possibly happen?
Mm.
Yeah, because I've been spending all day looking at Hex, you know, because I think there's like a huge
Quit
opportunity
talking
there.
about Sack Daddy, ChrispyMan. You're
No,
not
no.
supposed to talk about that.
Bruce, I'm sorry. You want to
There's an argument either way, and I think
regardless-
these experiments are great.
Well,
You're
well,
I-
gonna get
that's-
Richard Hart.
Hey, listen, there's
in
enough.
trouble.
There's enough.
Okay?
There's enough economic
Stop
energy
talking about
outside of the Sack Daddy. I think there is.
Yep.
To push the whole thing up. All right. I mean,
Yeah,
so
I think so
people
too. Because
are-
it's like
if we get
people
it-
chase green candles. I mean, that's a pretty given narrative that we've seen over and over again. I mean, even before Hex was a thing, you know, it's like people would, you know, chase the green candles on Bitcoin and create the parabolic blow off top, and then they would, you know, rotate some of those profits into Ethereum and then on over into altcoins. It's like it's just part of the cyclical
That's
nature
true.
of human psychology, and it's like. So another one that's like you guys, I have never publicly shilled anything but RH tokens, but I have spoken a little bit about Icarus coin this week, and to me it was just I just wanted to support it because of the initial idea of it was a tribute to a friend of mine's dad, and then he's basically following suit. He's doing the same thing. He did a launch where he locked all the LP, which I don't know if that's the best move or not, because I don't know how these things work necessarily. But I mean, it's been ripping. It's been doing great. And basically, he bought alongside everyone else. He announced it publicly, started buying alongside everyone else, acquired a pretty big bag because obviously he had confidence in what he was going to do. And then from what I've been able to tell on chain, he's doing the same thing. As the price dips, he'll buy it back up. And from knowing him personally, I know he doesn't need the money. And he's a hexagon, pulsicon, and he's doing it with fiat. Like he's not selling his ink. He will not sell any of his RH stuff. So that I also found reaffirming. And he's got some interesting ideas like in the pipeline that I think he'll be coming out with before long. So it'll be interesting to see like how many of these types of things, you know, because people see these 13,000% gains and stuff, and you know, as things launch and then they don't die like a meme coin normally dies. I think those things like Solid X, you know, Axis has had its pullbacks, but generally speaking, up and to the right. Same with Fire. I don't know about Nope. But, you know, those things are going to get eyeballs from other people in the crypto space, and even people outside the crypto space. They see those kind of gains, and that could be the entrance, right? That could be the thing that gets them through the door. And then it's up to us to educate them about other stores of value, maybe that have a more long-term track record. So, you know, I always encourage anyone that's doing any of this. Yeah. Right. And anyone that's doing these kind of things, it's like, I would encourage them like, hey, you know, this is all well and good, but these are very, very new projects, very untested. Hex has been around for almost 5 years. It's got T-shares. So you're earning more Hex trustless yield, same old talking points that we've all had forever. So, I'd encourage anyone that's participating in any of these things, if you're making crazy gains, don't round trip it, because you don't know how these things could play out. Take some of those gains and store them into Hex and stake them and get some trustless yield out of the deal.
Damn it, Toby!
And Pulse
Don't
chains
you
at a set
realize
rate. So
you're part of
it's
the
like,
problem
goodbye.
when you tell people to sell their coins for dollars?
No, I'm telling them to sell their coins for RH tokens.
We need to
store your
keep
value there.
all the coins in the system. Everyone should round trip. Everyone should round trip.
Hey, just because
Don't
I round
sell
trip,
the top.
I'm not recommending that's the best way to go. There are
Well, you know
reasons
what,
I round trip.
Hey, Matty has this friend called AI. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
The ChatGPT. So
I
I don't call
think it's how you pronounce
him
it.
or her, whatever you want to call them. Anyways, we had a long
Non-binary. It's not binary.
not pansexual. I don't know. Anyways, my friend AI and I, we talked about this, and we went through a very detailed explanation. And maybe somebody else has better math and they can do it. But anyways, if we were talking about farming in the ink, right, in round tripping, except that's not a sexual term, Matt. I just want to say. So the idea of round tripping, particularly, let's just take one step back. If I got those two tokens, if I got Pulse and Ink, and they both go up 20x over the same period of time, we're golden, right? No impermanent losses. Still got both tokens. I got all the gains I expected to get, and then plus I have all these rewards, right? So our supposition has always been, yeah, but you're gonna get eaten up alive by the loss of the ink, right? But that's because most of us don't think really hard about this, and the math is hard, really hard, right? To figure out, well, while that impermanent loss is happening, price is changing, the ratio between the two is changing, and the value is changing, and you're continuing to get APY in ink. And so most of us just assumed off the cuff, oh, you're probably gonna do better if you pull it. I was looking at the reason I started doing this is I was looking at pulling my ink, my ink PulseX, because I want to keep my ink. And I started talking to ChatGPT. She came back and told me not only would I not suffer $1 impermanent loss, and I call her she because I like that. I would actually do better from a dollar perspective. I would actually make more from a dollar perspective if I left it in. And that I did not expect. And if somebody has better information than that, please let me know. Now, I made some assumptions. I made some assumptions when I did that. I should set that up. I said, Pulse is going to do 20x. And I said, Ink is going to go up to $1,000. And then I said, I got $100,000 in here. That's my parameters. I'm going to leave it for a year. And my pool's going to pay me 50%. And I'll see all this stuff is a little adjustable, you can see. So, but I had to have something standard. And so wrote me a little paper and said, hey, this is what I think will happen. And I asked a whole bunch of questions. Anyways, but yeah, Toby, to that point, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking I needed to pull it to preserve my ink. And now I'm thinking maybe I don't know the right answer.
Normally, if the assets weren't already tied by being part of the RH ecosystem, having the same SAC set, more or less, and with Ink, it's because the only way you can get it is by providing liquidity. It's a special case. I think it's different than if you were just holding different assets, because as I hypothesized last week, you guys have been round tripping your impermanent loss, which is the only way to really win the most with yield farming. Is you're getting the yield and the prices are sloshing back to where they were before. People who are short-term yield farming, they're not getting that at all. And sure, they could be playing one side of the trade or the other. Yeah, I hopped out of some ink farms after, it filled up with more ink because that's what I was doing. But I think that it really depends on your time frame.
Yep. When I started, I knew that I wasn't going to touch my yield farms at all. If anything, I was going to add to them for 2 years. And we're 10 months in. So I'll reassess.
Yeah. And there's nothing else like PulseX and Ink. Like,
Right.
there was never a sacrifice for free speech with people who are already thinking long term because of Hex and like all this stuff. Like, you can't really compare Bitcoin and Ethereum. The impermanent loss you're going to get there, like, they have no reason to like slosh back in the, you know, on a long term scale. Ethereum has like, well, you know, maybe I could take that back. It really depends on your time frame. If you look at only the past 4 years, Ethereum did better and then Bitcoin did better. And so they are evening out, I would say. So yeah, there may be some deep truth here. Usually when AI gives me such a definitive, complex answer, I would argue the opposite. I would be like, are you sure you're not hallucinating? And then sometimes it'll say, yeah, I am sure I'm not hallucinating. And sometimes it'll be like, actually,
I just took a tab
you're
of
right.
LSD.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Maddie.
But that's really interesting, Crispy, that you went down that rabbit hole and you're on a long enough time frame to really benefit from this particular set of liquidity.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Well, if you get a chance, I know that everybody doesn't have access, but if you go over to the membership Telegram, I've been posting some pretty detailed articles there for the people who really want to get into technical stuff, kind of talking about all this stuff. Because
cool.
There, you know, we talk, like, for instance, we just say stuff all the time. I just say stuff, and I'm like, I believe this, and I might, maybe lots of times I can't even explain to you why I believe it, and then other times I got it nailed down. And so, like, that was one example, right, where I heard enough times that it would hurt if I left it in, that I said, yeah, I should take it out. Well, and then on the other hand, we keep talking about V3 liquidity, and we talked about this a little bit on the previous stream, didn't I? Well, anyways, we keep telling people do limit orders. Well, limit orders just like a market order, except it's on your terms, right? So, from how do you be more efficient and keep the system traveling in the direction you want it to go? That's kind of counterintuitive, right? And then you talk about this V3 liquidity. Ain't so easy to get out with V3. You might think it is. But I mean, you can stop a token dead in its tracks by putting up too much V3 liquidity ahead of it, aka Soyi token.
Okay,
right?
can you give the full story on this, because you guys referenced it in your stream earlier, but I had never heard of this.
Okay, stop. Let me just close this and then we'll go to that.
Okay.
And then when we get from the V3, I just told you that isn't so good. Then it drives you all the way back to V2. And
yes.
then you're like, well, I'm super impatient. I want my money now. So you're right back at market order. And so
yes,
if your bags are really small and it's very short term, that's probably fine. Any of those are fine. However you can get out. But if you're really here for multi-year, multi-cycle, you got some planning to do, because none of them are fast or easy to get significant value out if that was your intent.
Facts.
Even if you're just trying to go to a stable. Anyway, so yeah, just a little side thing on, there's more to it than that. Now the Soyi, this was the token that was launched, predated SolidX. Okay. And I don't know how, I know how it was meant. I don't know how it was taken.
So maybe it came out like 3 weeks ago or something.
Yeah. It was a token that came out. It was meant to be good natured. And
was Sami in on the joke?
I don't know if it was quote unquote a joke.
Okay.
But I don't know if I don't think there was any mix for this. Like, anybody talked to anybody and said this. I think it really was kind of a spur of the moment type of thing.
Okay.
And the thing shot up like crazy. But because
he talks about, he accuses people of being soy drinkers a lot. So it'd be ironic to name a coin after him, combining the word soy with his name and misspelling it. That would make total sense to be in like a meme category. And other people have tried creating fluffy slipper token and creaky chair token, Sami fan token, Indiana Jones, Sami. Like
I won't
there's
lie. When they created Soyi, and I know they gave him some of them, it does sound a little derogatory.
yeah, that was my first thought. And
Well,
but then
sometimes
this
when
also
things are
go
sometimes when things are written down on paper, it doesn't transfer really well.
totally. Yeah,
no,
I
totally
could
get
see
that
it both
too.
ways. Like, so a supporter of Sami would be like, "Oh yeah, Sami's always making fun of soy drinkers. Like let's make fun of Sami, and maybe he'll join in on it." Like, you know, that's how Australian people are. Hate to say it, but like, it's true. They have a different sense of humor than Americans do, supposedly.
Okay. Yep. Well, anyways,
Um,
so he did receive
oh,
a large
and
chunk.
and I was gonna throw out just like the last piece of history that I think is really relevant is this even goes back to the funding gem creating tokens as an experiment, which is part of the ChrispyMan's token origin story that you guys were talking about. But Sami was the most traded of those influencer tokens that
Yeah,
were
it
created
was. It was. Yeah,
to
wasn't it?
teach people that anybody can create a token and you should stick with RH stuff or whatever the point was.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Well, and how this relates to our previous conversation, it's an extreme example. The Sami had 20%, I think it was 10%, 20% of the token sent to him, and the token, the price chart was just rocketing out of control. Okay, Ramon says 10%. Was rocketing out of control, and he came in and dropped a V3 one-sided LP on top of it, and just
Is
shut
that around
down.
the time? Is that around the time that he was posting "You can't buy me"? I didn't know what
Yes.
that meant at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
I didn't know what that meant.
I think that's what it was, but I don't think anybody was really like negative like that thinking. But listen, I didn't launch the thing, but anyways, but effectively, you say, "Wow, it's only $6 million. You guys buy it." Well, it was pretty well spread out, and it was going to be like $56 million to eat through it, and so yeah, it just died. I mean,
And
you just
and
couldn't get through it.
yeah, this is notable too because like different meme communities have done this to Vitalik, where they sent coins to his wallet without letting him know ahead of time, and you know, then pumped it up, and it doesn't always have good intentions, but in this case, I'm hearing that it didn't have bad intentions because it was linked to the fire whale, who is somebody that, you know, like is different than the God whale, is different than the origin address, but apparently an account that has a lot of positive history built up, not only in the past that's provable on chain, but also like in the future because they have lots of hex stakes. And so I guess
He's been
this
shown to be a positive person in the Richard Hart ecosystem.
and that's
Well,
how
another one is Pulse to
that's
the
how
Moon.
this experiment like struck me as different. Go ahead, Toby.
Yeah, I was just going to say another one. And it's like, it goes back to what we were saying before. Like, so many of these things, it's like, you know, obviously there's whales in the system. Some are good actors. Some are kind of in the shadows playing what we always would refer to kind of negatively as whale games, right? Where they try to wash people out by dumping the price, and then they would like scare all the small fish, and then they would
Rack
dump after
'em.
them, and then they'd scoop. Well, yeah, I'm not going to name names.
Shame
but,
on you.
know, it was speculated that, you know, that he was behaving in that way, and some others, I'm sure, that we never will know the names of, right, or the faces of. And then there's people like the Solid X guy, and then there's another one called Pulse to the Moon, who just recently started talking about Icarus. So it's like, I think that, you know, when you have those kind of players that are coming in that are, you know, good actors and wanting to support something, it's worthy to take notice because ultimately, you know that they are pro RH ecosystem, where others may be pro themselves. They don't really have a bigger vision of what can come from their efforts, right? So that's why, you know, I was really interested in Axis's tweet today about the solid index, I think he called it, which was like basically the 4 token play of Nope and Solid and Fire and Axis. So it's like those kind of things are gonna draw attention to Pulse Chain, and that's the idea.
I think we're getting to that because it turns out that the person who created the Soyi token, tell me if I'm right here, created SolidX after Sami thought that this was maybe not coming from a good actor. Maybe he didn't do chain analysis, or maybe he did, but he treated it like the origin address or Vitalik would, where the origin address was like, Hedron, that's too much like Hex. Here's a V3 cell wall. Good luck going up now.
Right.
Right? So I think ChrispyMan was saying that that's what happened with the Soyi token. It's like, this is teaching us something about liquidity. It's teaching us something about Hart's law. Like, in the real world, somebody had a good intention, it seems. Like, they sent the token, to the influencer. It was worth a lot of money, but then the influencer just decided, like, well, I have a lot of tokens, so, and it only takes 10% to put up a sell wall, and then you guys were saying that the token didn't have a future because it didn't matter how much the fire whale would spend on Soyi token. It wouldn't go up because of the V3. And so this helps teach us what creates value is, it's becoming a little bit more clear with all these experiments. Like, you can't just put a V3 cell wall and then expect something to do well.
It shows to me how far ahead Richard Hart was of his time, because one of the main one of the main arguments is Richard controls 90% of the coins, and you go, well, yeah, and that prevents big whales from coming in and taking over 50% of the coins, and then just forever dumping on the whole community. Because if you can control, a minor supply versus the 95 other percent of it, or if you can control that 95% and just let people play with the little 5%, you can keep it from being soy meat.
It's so interesting, isn't it?
Soy mead.
It is very interesting. In my opinion, I think we all believe that the way this Solid X thing is performing is how we kind of expected the Pulse chain to perform. We thought these sell orders would be more or less protected with the SAC funds and whatever. But to me, this kind of just proves that the Pulse chain is kind of maybe artificially being suppressed, allowing more people to get on before it just does these outrageous numbers.
Artificially, intelligently being suppressed?
Yeah, because one of the things about the Solid X that I'm hearing from people private messaging me is I missed the boat on it, and I would get in if it pulled back, but it's just it never pulls back.
I got something.
So I think it's actually pretty brilliant that maybe Pulse Chain is being held back. That way no one can say oh man, if it just did a pullback, I would get in. No, bitch, you had a whole year. You had a whole year to get on board, and you chose not to. There was all these flavors, and you chose salty.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
So, in my opinion, I think Richard, I'm not saying Richard, but the price being suppressed on Pulse Chain, I think that's a saint move.
Well,
that's really, it's a selfless act.
We're going to talk about whether RH is a time traveler. I just want to know if there's any more comments or lessons to be learned here about these new tokens being created and liquidity.
So here's my question for everyone, is that in 2027, 26 and 27. If we have a 99% pullback again, are you guys going to not buy? Are you going to ape into shit coins, or are you going to get on board of the Richard Hart ecosystem? If if his coins do another 10,000x in 2025, and then they do a 99% pullback in 2027.
The only way to know for certain what you're going to do in the future is to program it into a smart contract like Hex or Time Pays Me.
All I'm saying is I think we are being given a massive opportunity, and some people see it, some people cry like little girls.
I completely agree. The shakeout is real.
Hey, we
Hang
got
in there,
T-Bird.
everybody.
We got T-Bird in the chat from down under. T-Bird,
What's
the
up?
real one.
Is real.
What's up, T-Bird?
Can you confirm Australians have a different sense of humor? Yes or no?
Maddie, that's
What?
It is written.
Will
It
win.
is written.
Am I
Simple.
being discriminatory?
I
I'm
think
like
so.
friends
Well,
with
not
so many.
discriminatory, but I mean,
different.
just
Their sense of humor goes counterclockwise. I heard.
Oh my god.
It's the clockwise.
All right.
Oh.
Well, I
physics
think Richard Hart went to the future, and he knows that Hex is going to be the super successful, token out of the entire system, and that's why he told us to stay true to it and to stake it. That's what I spent today working on.
Which version?
What? Oh, well, Hex.
Okay.
Hex.
Yes. All there are
Hex.
so many. I've lost money on so many different versions of Hex. I just sometimes I'm still thinking proof of work will be something someday, but it won't.
Yep. At the lows recently and Briz don't come unglued on eHex. And I did put a little over in PHEX too, but on the lows, it's like I built up some moon bags of some degen plays, right? And I've always said, people do what they want with their own money. It's like I use a very, very, very tiny percent of my overall portfolio to play around in some meme coins and stuff. Don't ever talk about any of them except Icarus. It's the only first one I've talked about publicly. And of those other tokens, I got rid of like maybe 50 to 75% and aped them back into eHex and a little bit in PHEX. And if you noticed, I found it very interesting that we saw all the Pulse stuff jump, right? Recently, about 10% or so. And eHex jumped 20%. So, I don't think eHex is dead. I think there's still going to be, I think people are going to be surprised on both going forward. And as more people, kind of educate themselves in the system and see the power of T-shares and see the opportunities that are present for both, I think it's going to be interesting to see at the end of the bull where everything stacks up, like where we started from the bottom of the bear to the beginning of the bull, like, who takes the crown of the RH tokens. It'll be interesting.
I got a hot
Judge
take.
Maddie, I want to redirect away from the eHex conversation.
No. I got a hot take before we direct off. Hot take. I think
Make it quick.
I think I'm trying. eHex will go back to all-time highs.
Wow.
Chris.
Look out.
I agree.
I mean, why wouldn't it?
Right?
Crispy, take us
Please.
to the next topic.
Take us next.
Well, I wanted to. Can I share my screen, Maddie?
Now quit buying eHex, you fucking degens. eHex, you sons of
How do we get to
bitches.
all-time high? Somebody's got to buy it. It can't just be me.
Briz, you're going to get your wish. The price of Hex is going to come down to the price of eHex. And then they're going to go to parity.
You
There's
son
a
of a
race to
bitch.
all-time highs. together.
So see who's right then, man. None of us will be right. All of us will be pissed.
We're all gonna be poor.
Wow.
We're all
Chris
gonna
be
be
bringing the
pissed
hex
off.
fire.
That would be. I couldn't think of something more stressful than that. Something
I
like
just
that.
want eHex and PX to go back to
last 2 years
1-to-1
been stressful.
ratio. That's all I
Yeah.
want.
The most
what-
opportunity.
That's what
Can
the
you pull-
Atropa guy
can you
said.
pull
And
this
I
up
think
when you get a
Sami said that
chance?
too.
Here we are.
All right.
All right. So I just want to take a quick
Zoom
look
in
at
a
this
little
up,
bit.
because
Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
well, my buddy Benny was in my chat
Benny
talking.
Blanco?
talking to you, Blanco, and just talking about things and what's going on with Hex and just how hard people are fading Hex, because we're fading it really hard right now. So if it's outside of us, right? If you're talking to anybody on Pulse Stream, they're like, Hex is dead. Hex is dead. And now this isn't TA, but it's related because we're just looking at the 200-day moving average, and we are applying some of the information we got from from the Bitcoin world. Just give us kind
Is
of
this
an
Hex
idea.
USDC?
Yeah, this is Hex USD, and so what it is
Not dead, by the way.
it is not dead. It is Hex. It's Hex, old Hex plus new Hex future. It does not include both values though after launch. It's just Hex. Right, so it's only the Hex on Pulse Chain. And anyways, all I'm just trying to show is just how far below we've now dropped. We have this kind of Bart Simpson pattern up there. We dropped down below that 200-day moving average, which signals that if we're using, and maybe this isn't exactly right for Hex, but it works pretty good for us. It's signaling by the fact that it's down here, that price is down below that green line, at least the measure, and I got to make this bigger for you guys. It's signaling that now is a really great time to be accumulating Hex, right? While it's down there. Now, people fading it so hard, I don't think people are accumulating as much as they could. And somebody is, right? Because somebody's sucking it up off the market. And so, I don't know. So it's contrarian right now to even be involved in Hex, so to speak, right? If it was just listen to what people say. It's like super contrarian to even stake. All right, people are going nuts. Start talking about staking in the general chat. So like, that's proven to be a dead narrative. Never mind staking Quattro Cinco, right? So let's go look at a couple things to kind of see what's happening. So I'm saying that by these measures, looking at something like the 200-day moving average, we're in an oversold situation right now. I think that from a pie indicator perspective and a relative strength situation, we're kind of like neutral, which is fine, but volatility is way low, right? This is over the last year, and usually when we see things like this, and again, Toby, you can tell me if I'm right about this, but these are the times where we have the potential for some explosive action when that volatility gets super low, and then all of a sudden we might see some sort of a pop-up.
Dude, why are you giving all the secrets away, Crispy? Damn it! It's like I'm still trying to snap up some of these low prices.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure everybody's asleep.
But that's the same thing. It's like
this
is the no, I know. I'll never live that one down. I said glazed over. I didn't say asleep. But now you've got like multiple colors. You got little like stoplight photos. It's like it's a lot better than just like.
Well, I need dancing. I need dancing cats. So.
Right.
So while everybody else is saying, the common man who isn't getting their 1,000x in 2 days, right? It's like, this sucks. I'm getting out. I didn't see nothing, right? Well, meanwhile, what's the smart money doing? See the green line, right? That's holder. Those are new holders, day over day over day over day over day over day. All right, sure looks pretty bullish to me. So if we truly do see a flip in the market, and new strong money coming in to vacuum up the remaining Hex, this fits right in with that, right? And so how would you see that happen, or what would be an indicator of that happening besides seeing the chart price go up, is if you see market makers withdrawing Hex from liquidity and liquidity starts getting tight, that may be a front-running signal. A lot of people already know this, but for those who don't, that, hey, you know what? This thing's going to blow, and go in the upwards direction. So anyways, I'm looking at the things that I'm seeing, and I'm saying, like, right now is like, there's good liquidity. You can get Hex really cheap. T-share rates at the lowest you could ever get. It's contrarian play to even be in Hex. It's a contrarian play. Maybe it's a contrarian play to be in Hex, but because I'm showing you people are doing it. Maybe it's a contrarian play to stake. And then the final thing I'll throw at you, which I think is like, I can't wait for this to happen. If I know it won't happen because this is too good to be true, but people are fading Quattro Cinco so hard. Like like if I was to interpret things people say to me, they're like, man, you're an idiot. You're just ridiculous, and you're an idiot for having ever believed that Quattro Cinco makes any sense, right? And I guess we'll find out 15 years. But what I want to point out is this chart here that we're going to look at the pulse chain up at the top, and we're going to look specifically at 2039. Let's see if you
Hey,
guys can
Crispy,
see
can
it.
I
It's so
add, can
small.
I add something there real quick? It's like,
Yeah,
people
please.
kind of fading the Quattro Cinco mentality. I think people have such short memories. They are forgetting what Hedron and even Calm was doing originally, right? It's like those had significant value, Hedron especially, because they were more around for the bull. And, so when that, over that 5,555 day period, how many bulls is that, right? And how many opportunities is that for your Hedron yield, your Calm bonuses that you're able to get, where that is reducing sell pressure on Hex, because history has kind of indicated that people prefer to sell the Hedron and the Calm over Hex. So you got to look at the extra layers of those long stakes. It's not just what yield am I making in Hex between now and the end, but these little ancillary benefits. Also, there's new stuff coming out now. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Sorry to whoever created it, but it's going to be a free airdrop to Hex stakers, and there's a bonus for people that have Quattro Cincos.
Tentatively called liquid Hex.
Yeah, right.
Tentatively.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's free stuff. I mean, we remember this from the previous bull market. Tons of free stuff that got dropped to Hex stakers, right? So, because they know that hexagons are long-term minded typically, right? Delayed gratification is kind of in our DNA. So anyhow, back to you, sir.
Well, I'm gonna say something a little controversial. I have talked to Ben. Ben Sear is a guy, a friend of the show, right?
Oh, right.
He's the guy that's planning to launch that, and I've been in contact with him to offer up anything I could offer up for help.
Cool.
But I think the key to that is this: you can't count on the fact that people are hexagons that they're all going to hold.
Right.
But I agree with you that would be the tendency. But it would be a liquid. It would be a liquid token. But just to finish this little bit out, see 2039. I think it made it big enough for everybody to see. It's just a little tiny thing. Right? We only have 13,000 T-shares out there. 13,000, roughly. Somebody wants to go count them, let me know. So what does that mean to me? Well, if all you faders are right, all the people who aren't listening to this show, because everybody here believes in having good, solid staking ladder. If all you fading people are right, I'm probably going to have an awful lot of those T-shares out there. And you know what those T-shares are going to pay me? 7,000 hex per day. Per T-share. All right.
For how long?
Well, as long as my T-shares are in place, until somebody else's T-shares come. But certainly at that time. And so it's a little tongue-in-cheek, little, I guess it's a little hyperbole. But here's the thing is, if nobody's going to add any more T-shares out there, then the guys and ladies who have the T-shares are the ones who are going to get the rewards, period. And the system's going to keep rolling. And so and Hex isn't going anywhere, it's immutable. And so as long as there's a blockchain and Hex is going to continue to operate and people are going to be part of this boom, boom and bust cycle of crypto or of any market really. I guess if people just forget they're like, oh yeah, I remember they used to do that staking thing back in the day. Maybe we're all dinosaurs and I'm just collecting my Hex and nobody ever cares that I am.
Are we looking at the Pulse chain or Ethereum side right here?
This is Pulse chain.
Pulse chain.
There's only one Hex.
That's right, baby.
This is bullshit. Anyways, my point is I'm still on board with the idea of all of this. This is my methodology, and I have stakes out in 2039, and we're just about halfway through the year of 2039. Remember, 15.2 years. So, because I'm looking at it as 2039, we're into June. And so you can see a huge drop from 38 to 39. Those T-shares that are out there longest, they're going to pick up, man, some rewards. So in the game of Hex, if you want more Hex.
It seems to me, looking at this chart, a lot of people have kind of came to the same conclusion that even I have. Whereas we're thinking we want to stake a max of 5 years, just because gas fees, the gas fees are so crazy. Dip Catcher said that, like, with the 555s on Ethereum chain, that just to unstake them will take up like the whole freaking block or something.
Yeah, this is Pulse Chain.
And but even then, like, they're gonna still take up a lot of the space.
Well, sure. I mean, God knows how many updates to
Yeah, we'll have
will happen between
updates,
now and then. I mean, it's an obvious
but
issue they're going to have to address.
until then, it looks like people are just doing the safe route and just staking it between 4 and 5 years. Now, I suspect that when the 29 and 30s come out, they're probably going to restake for maybe another 5 years. And then in 34 and 35,
we shall see.
Those people will restake until 2039.
I think people have faded this stuff so hard, man, that I think that it's not even that. It's not even that. I mean, people aren't staking even 5 years right now, man. I mean, there are some. I'll pull something up while you guys keep talking, and just
I think the philosophy is that we're coming into a bull, so why would you want to lock it beyond the length of this bull, right? So I think so. It makes sense to me why people. I mean, like, I'm holding more liquid than I normally would be, because I want to kind of wait and see if we do get back to all-time highs, and so I have an option if I wanted to take some profit at that point, or and as things cool off and I have what I need to have when those days come, then my staking behavior will be different. But yeah, it's like if you've got a bag of liquid that you're comfortable with and got some extra, to me it makes sense to stake it out until at least when you think the next bull will be. Of course, I'm talking about the P-Hex side. E-Hex, my staking behavior is a little different just because of the ETH gas fees that I'm a little concerned about. And then, Crispy, maybe you'll know, like, what I know we had the what was it, the Dencun update on Ethereum. Did Pulse Chain integrate that yet?
Oh, I haven't heard.
I haven't either. I'm sure we will.
We don't have a whole lot of layer 2s that need like
that need that.
But I think, didn't they say they were gonna include it? And they have been updating stuff. So
yeah. So I was just curious when that's gonna occur.
All right, so we're all familiar with this kind of chart, and I apologize for you guys at home. Other than you can see the purple going up, you probably can't read a whole lot of this. But this is the average years, right? The average years staked. And one of the things we continue to run into is people not understanding what average years staked are. 6.67 years. A lot of us go, hey, this is awesome. It just shows how committed people are. Yeah, but it's a measure of how committed they were in the past. Because those stakes, that's why Maddie's measurement of t-shirt days is so much more important. It's because the average of what's left, of course, the long ones are left. And so it makes that number look higher. Yeah, there's some marketing to that. I mean, it's still valuable, but it doesn't tell the whole story of what's going on. A different story to tell is taking a look at all the stakes, by their by month, and how long they've been staked for, right? And look how far this has dropped down. I mean, we're literally down to see if I can make this thing give me the years. We're down, well, yeah, right around 0.21. So these numbers are just ridiculously low. Let me see if I pop this up here. I mean, clearly down below the 1 year mark in this month, right? Stake length of 0.16 years. And of the ones that are still open, these are just the ones that are open. So you could argue, so I'll go back here. But you see how it's just coming down, it's coming down all the time. And so people are definitely fading the idea of staking. Now, so I'm going to be a little bit contrary to how I normally act about this. Man, this is opportunity all day for me. I have a ladder, and I'm going to keep building my ladder. And meanwhile, the payouts are continuing to go up. And I'm in the game to acquire more units. If nothing else, the last year has really shown me that. Axis Alive has really shown me the power of units, man. and and all the work that we've done with LP. Units. Like, don't, not a financial advice. You guys do what you want. What I'm saying is, I'm going to continue to keep my ladder up. That's what I'm saying. And because I think that this could be a huge winner for us, provided all the things I think are going to happen. Crypto doesn't go away. I know, Maddie, I'm sorry, we talked about that at the beginning. Pulse chain doesn't fade. Hex continues to operate. I have no reason to think those things won't happen. The ladder, if I'm playing just for Hex, I'm getting a ton of Hex, man.
Nice.
Maddie,
How optimistic.
is
like
doomed.
the world doesn't end, crypto works out, and I think Hex is I agree with you that Hex is contrarian right now. That's why I'm wearing the Hex hat today.
It is.
I think Hex will go between $1 and $2 in the next year and a half. There you guys heard it. You heard the prediction right there.
Right on. I'd take that.
And if you don't like that prediction, get out. Did I do it right?
We've got 1,000 bots watching and like 200 real people. So
that's not true. They're real.
If you're
man.
real, stay.
Show us your faces.
Bots, get the hell out.
Did we miss something in the chat that we were supposed to
Corn
address?
rodeo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Richard
Actually, I could actually see you in that movie, Bruce. I was an adult, and that was my favorite cartoon.
Ooh, they just came out with something new on Pulse Chain. I didn't see this one coming.
Oh, share it, man. Show us.
Yeah, this seems like breaking news.
Show it.
Yeah. If I'm reading this right, let me share my screen here. So, Richard Hart on Twitter says Pulse Chain is freedom of speech and freedom of association software. Pulse Chain, he said. You can publish your speech even easier now that someone has released this tool. It splits a large file up into parts so that it can spread across blocks, and then shows the reconstructed file by pulling across blocks. Here's an example of reading Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven directly from the Pulse Chain blockchain. Images, video, text, it's all supported. It supports any file. What a wonderful community. Open source is the future. Hey, Elon Musk complained that NFT projects don't even upload the NFTs to the chain. Well, this solves that.
Nice.
That's Dang.
It sounds like he just described BitTorrent.
Got him. No, I think this is really cool.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bruce. It's real similar to that.
I mean, it's literally BitTorrent.
Yeah.
Hold up. But the really important point that we started the stream with is that we need crypto to be freedom of speech. We need it to be more than just money. And this kind of solves that. I don't know if you read like the 65-page legal document that came out today.
No.
I am about 2/3 of the way through it. I paid a lot of money to have an app read me in Snoop Dogg's voice. And I did that with the original SEC complaint. Yeah. I could tell you.
No way.
You like Snoop Dogg never sounded more real when somebody's quoting RH. But when it's lawyers talking, it sounds different. Anyway, if you know, you know.
Right.
So, I'm still getting through that, but that's what the thumbnail was, that's what it's referring to, is the slam dunk is in the last third of this, 65-page legal document that RH's team of 11 lawyers that included are people who represented Elon Musk when he beat the corrupt SEC. Richard has the same lawyers. and more.
I would.
So yeah,
I would like,
major stuff came out today, and the idea, I guess, that I put in the thumbnail, the SEC actually accused Richard. Well, no, they implied, and this is super relevant to the motion to dismiss. They implied that Richard time traveled when he bought cars. He was accused of buying cars with SAC money, but the
5
timeline
months
is wrong.
before he got the SAC money.
And judges do not like it when, SEC lawyers are making stuff up
When
and
facts are
hallucinating, getting
incongruent.
timelines wrong. It really destroys their credibility to the point where, like, normally you wouldn't get a motion to dismiss in a case like this.
Maddie, that's why a lot of people thought maybe whoever filed the SEC complaint, maybe they were a Hexagon, and maybe they wanted Hex to get legitimized, and so they wrote a very bad argument against Hex.
I love all the conspiracy theories and speculation. Personally, I have a car that is associated with time travel. So, yeah, it makes it even more silly, doesn't it? That the SEC is accusing Richard of time traveling when I'm the one with the DeLorean.
I would also like to point out that can we not bloat up the pulse chain with a bunch of Edgar Allan Poe bullcrap?
That so like why? Why
no.
not?
No. Hey, you
Why
know what?
shouldn't it be free
do you
speech?
like high gas fees?
I like Edgar Allan Poe.
Do you like high gas fees?
I like freedom of speech. I sacrificed for it. Did you?
I think we have enough Edgar Allan Poe decentralized across the internet that we don't need to be bloating up the pulse chain with.
Are you flooding my bags right now? Literally, you're like,
Grizz, stop it.
Am I flooding your bags? No, I'm trying to say let's not bloat the pulse chain up with just bullcrap.
Well, you might be right about
freedom
that.
of
You might be
speech.
right about that part, or about the cost and whatnot, and that might come.
people are
from
gonna
this.
fill it up. Toby, you're muted.
But I want to throw something else at you.
How much room is it really going to take up? Come on.
Facts.
So,
I
Grizz,
don't know, but I look at the Ethereum. Like people thought
No,
that was
it's a good
funny.
argument. Like
it is, but I want to throw something else to you guys, right?
Sure.
Like this is Borg territory. Well, you guys probably even know how the Borg.
What is that?
Yeah, I know. Star Trek references.
You've been assimilated.
You ever see Planet of the Apes, right? I like to talk about the Planet of the Apes a lot. You ever see the movie Planet of the Apes? The new ones?
Long time ago.
Those would be the only ones you probably ever seen, right? So I was a little kid, and they had this Planet of the Apes television show, right?
Charles Heston in the movie.
Yeah, but it was like
The
fake
show was
Charleston.
great.
Yeah, it was like fake Charleston Heston,
Right.
The younger guy,
Roddy
handsome.
McDowell.
And they're walking around. They're walking around out in the wastelands, and they come across like some structure, and they walk in, and all of a sudden there's this tablet. Right back then we didn't know what it was, but it's like some giant screen, right? And all of a sudden it just comes on, right? And it's got power, and it's got the knowledge of the entire world on it, right? As of the time that the world blew up. Same thing with I think it was. Might not have been H.G. Wells. Well, H.G. Wells had a version of that, and there was another show that had something like that. But what I'm saying is, this technology, you have this inanimate object that just suddenly turns on by itself. Like, how can it have power after thousands of years? And how can it have the Raven in it? Right? So the technologies can change pretty quick. It already has changed in the last 20 years, having to do, of course, with the the miniaturization and the less heat load and cost of not gas, but cost of being able to do transactions. Can't get crypto out of my head of the power needs of these circuits. Anyways, my point about this, Grizz, and what was kind of really curious about this for me is maybe this approach is Planet of the Apes world, where we have another problem in the world where we have all this information, just like you said. I can't bring all this information down to my phone, and so sometimes I'm waiting. But what if everything's available to you everywhere all the time via blockchain?
Yes. I would love
And co-
that.
combined with AI that's smart enough to know Briz likes this kind of porn. Don't even download it. Now make sure it's not near you. You know, and it actually picks what you want for you. I mean, pretty scary stuff. Anyways, this is a little tangent, but
Rosebud was his sled. There you go. I saved you 20 minutes.
oh my god.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Those sex references, I don't know, man.
Yikes.
Well,
all I can think of is that we have bit torrents, so we have everything everywhere all at once.
It's not immutable.
It is.
it's not
Yeah,
immutable.
It's not
Not
immutable.
immutable. Not immutable.
Yeah, that's a good
And
part,
there's
right?
definitely admin keys.
And
On
there's admin
BitTorrent?
keys.
Not on BitTorrents.
Yeah, think about the server farms and stuff it runs on.
I don't
Pirate
know.
Bay.
Look,
I don't
Will,
know what you guys
is-
are referencing.
is Richard gonna have to tell us why this is so awesome? I think some people are gonna see it as awesome. Some people aren't. Hey, I've been sitting around waiting for anything cool to happen on Pulse Chain, and it seems like there are maybe a lot of slam dunks coming today.
I just
There
don't
was
get-
a badass lawsuit, like not lawsuit, but like a badass legal defense that I haven't even gotten through yet. That is just like looks like a game changer. Looks like the market is like confused. That RH is also telling everybody that they suck for not recognizing this freedom of speech stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what we discussed earlier in the stream. It's like, you know, basically debating that. And so now we're getting even more. I mean, I didn't see this coming. This is completely unexpected. A new feature.
like, should we be?
Can you just be happy, Brisology, please? Like,
no, because
PLS, be happy.
Do you
Not
want the
legit.
movie Transformers and every iteration of the movie Transformers on the Pulse chain?
Nah, come on, Briz, come on.
I
now.
don't care.
Jurassic
Yes,
Park.
yes.
I want
It's
freedom of
on the
speech.
It's an
Pulse chain.
example. He's just using it as an example of that blockchain is freedom of speech. He's not
See, we can
advocating
split-
that every bunch of digital
can
bullshit on the
split
planet
large
go blowing up
files
Pulse change.
into
like-
You can
parts
pay
that
for it.
spread across blocks.
If it's important, people will put it on there, and if it's not, they won't pay for it. It's the
Right.
problem solves itself.
Right. It's just an example of it as free speech. That's it.
Do we need the
That's it.
movie Speed on the Pulse
Boomer.
chain?
We need the movie Highest of Stakes. Maybe the movie Highest of Stakes. You can put that on there.
For free.
Do we need it on
Idiocracy
the
needs to
Pulse
be
chain?
on
I
it.
don't give a shit.
I got it. We got it on YouTube. We got it on Amazon. We got it on Hulu.
I think Game Theory Gang should be on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we
Live
need
streaming
to
Scott
upload
blocks
every
for 2 hours
episode
every Tuesday.
of Game Theory Gang onto the Pulse chain?
If somebody wants to pay for that, that would be awesome.
Right?
Hey,
Immortalize us.
Wasi, you need to relax, buddy.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Well, if Brisology was not disagreeing, then we would have to invite somebody else on to disagree because this show is meaningless if we all agree with each other. By the way, so I welcome the
I don't agree
dissension.
with that.
Thank God. Yeah. Can we donate Brisology to the BTC community? Thanks for the super chat there, Alan.
$2, you cheap ass.
we had-
son of
we-
a bitch.
We had 10 pound super chat earlier from Aerosolis, spelled
Aerosolis.
creatively, and
Yeah,
dropping the contract address
oh,
for
yeah,
Icarus
That's
token.
cool.
Yeah, well, I thought
Wonderful.
on this stream it was a minimum of $100 or US for those types of things.
I would say,
Anything is
wouldn't it be
welcome.
cool if somebody invented a system of doing super chats but not having YouTube in the middle of it, taking
Wow.
30%, and
Oh,
it was
man,
powered
but-
by Pulse? Oh, that'd be so cool. I hope
you
somebody
launching
makes
that?
that someday.
Are you
very
launching that
soon.
at the conference?
The conference is a little bit different. It's
Yeah.
I don't
But
want I
it's-
don't
So
want
it's
I don't
gonna be
want you
launching that
cluttering my
capability during the
I
conference.
don't want you cluttering up my blockchain with your tips.
with sends, yeah, with like payments.
Stop paying me.
I don't know. I don't know who would get fewer tips, me or Briz.
Uh,
I think
I think
lots
me,
of guys
me,
give you just
I'd
a
get less.
tip.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Yikes!
that hurt.
Yikes!
Taking
Briz,
him,
Briz has
taking
his
him
new
down.
Got
top
him.
token. When's your doc token coming out? Your docking token? You say your-
I told you not to tell people about that.
It's bad. Shame. Okay, we know it's getting late when the potty humor comes out.
Yeah, so yeah, remember this is all going on the blockchain now. So
Oh man!
yeah,
This is gonna be
commit
uploaded
to your
the
jokes.
post,
Yeah.
That's fucking funny. Well, Maddie, I'm glad to see you smiling and laughing, and that your innovative product is back on track. I was concerned about you
There's
earlier
hope.
this week, and I could feel it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people resonated with that because of just the feelings about enduring the bear market. So I think there was a lot of commiseration with just the emotion that you're feeling for people and their own reasons. And to see you kind of rise from the ashes and like have some hope going forward on this thing, I think is a great testament to what we all have to look forward to coming into the bull market. I think it's going to be a wildly different landscape by late summer, and the vibe is going to be totally different. I think it's going to be super exciting times ahead. So I'm as bullish as I've ever been. So I'm stoked.
Did I tell you guys that the solar eclipse that we had 7 years ago is what got me more involved in crypto?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I was
Where were you?
You just say
So-
you never saw things the same again? Is that what you just say?
look, Amazon, they had sold a bunch of bad solar eclipse glasses. So I get this email like, your glasses are no good. So I ran to Walmart and there's a post office across the street. So I'm like, oh, I could make this a business. So literally my first business ever was just selling solar eclipse glasses for 1 week.
No way.
To all the people who got screwed by Amazon. And
That's cool.
and so once it was over, this is 2017. Once it was over, that was the exact moment that the price of Bitcoin was exceeding the price of 1 ounce of gold. It was like Bitcoin was $2,500, gold was $2,500, and I was like,
I made a post on Facebook about that.
hey, it was a moment. It was a huge moment, I think, in crypto history. Yeah,
Nice.
and so I was looking for another business to start, and so that's when I turned from solar eclipse glasses to Bitcoin miners, and so I imported Bitcoin miners for a small time, not to mine, but to resell them. And
Cool.
that got me learning about crypto to the point where I was down bad in Bitcoin, and then in 2018, and then heard about RH and Hex.
Yeah, nice. I had no idea.
I heard
was it
after
a full eclipse?
I heard
after
17, like where you were.
Oh yeah.
I heard after the eclipse, the most Googled term was, "Why do my eyes hurt?"
Really?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Ouch. You should have bought your solar eclipse glasses from Matty ALLin in 2017.
Dude, I used a solar filtered telescope, smart telescope, and actually got to see the corona and stuff through that. It was really cool. And then we had solar eclipse glasses. And this is kind of like a funny aside. Like my dad got dementia, so his short-term memory is terrible. But the cool thing about it, and we've got video of it, is really adorable, is like every time he put the glasses on to look, it's like he just have the same reaction like it was the first time he ever saw it, like over and over, like for however 15 minutes we had him outside. So it was really cool because he'd get really excited. And it's like, oh man, he goes, the moon's going in front of the sun. I'm like, yeah, Dad, the eclipse, it's coming, and then it's like, we'd trade the glasses around, and then like a few minutes later we'd give it back to Dad. He's like, oh hey, the moon's covering the sun. So it was really a fun little family experience yesterday or day before, whenever it was. But yeah, it's like I guess in this part of the country, I'm in Ohio, being near family right now, and it was the first time there was a complete solar eclipse in our area that since 1806. So that's why I was curious where you were,
it was so cool, man. This one was the best I've seen, and so yeah, definitely positive vibes now.
Yeah, right. I'm feeling it. Hijacking Bitcoin. Oh yeah, I want to read that or get it. Do they have the audio book out yet?
It just came out. Probably not. This just dropped.
Nice.
Yeah,
I definitely want to check
3
that
days
out.
ago or something.
Cool.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I can't wait to. It's
Yep, I'm still trying to get through the 60-page RH court thing.
oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's priority.
That's
for
the top.
sure.
That's the top of my reading list. And then
I
that's it.
have so I'm gonna look into uploading the recording that I have of Snoop Dogg reading it.
That'd be cool.
Because a lot of people like myself are auditory learners.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be great if you could upload
Yeah.
that. Would there be any issues uploading that?
I don't know. So I would more likely have people
Share
go to my
privately.
Twitter than
right on.
YouTube.
Cool.
But-
Cool.
Yeah,
I would be down to listen to Snoop Dogg explain it all to me.
it's funny. It's a little bit annoying because like it reads all of the citations.
Oh.
But it's better than reading it yourself.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, adds a little levity to it. That stuff can get a little dry.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff that's lining up. For some reason, like PulseX and Pulse and Hex and Ink are down right now, but yeah, I think there's a bright future, and I think it's more than just about price, but I think the price could do well too. So
I would just like to point out or mention, I wouldn't mind if the movie Speed was on Pulse Chain.
Speed 1 or
Sandra
2.
Bullock, Keanu
Oh,
Reeves,
you better not say Speed 3.
Dennis
Oh.
Hopper. Come on, guys.
Classic.
so you flip flopped now.
So
I'm just saying.
he just had to think
Speed.
about it for a minute. Yeah. So I got some things to add to my list. I got the Roger Ver book. I've got looking forward to Maddie's Snoop Dogg reading of the court documents. I'm going to go back and watch the old Planet of the Apes TV series with Roddy McDowell because that was a huge part of my childhood. I totally
Don't
forgot
forget
about.
Speed.
And Speed is now.
Hey,
on my list.
since you guys are talking
Wildcat.
about different ways of learning and reading and whatnot, you know, there's a community called the DGen Roundtable. You guys heard of them before, right? Did we have somebody on here once?
Yeah,
don't know
DJ
if it was-
Roundtable. Yeah, I was supposed to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
on there,
sure.
and then I
Yeah,
haven't been able to yet.
I've been on with them a couple times. They do a Friday, I think it's on Fridays, a Friday book club. Really cool. Covering some pretty good topics and things I think people might be interested in. Not a bad idea to check them out.
Cool.
Yeah,
wanna say-
absolutely.
The movie Speed was one of the first movies where live streaming was a thing.
Oh, so
Yeah.
did not know that.
Can we live stream onto the blockchain on Pulse or what?
You could.
Are you
Why not?
trying to kill the greatest thing in the world right now?
You're just trying to get Briz riled back up again. Come
So
on,
we
guys.
got
God.
240 streamers that
Briz.
could fill this
Briz.
thing up pretty quick.
The use case.
Yeah, man, I'm validating. Go for it.
The use case drives the change in technology, man. Get with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
get on board
Dude,
immediately when RH tweets.
Did we need digital cameras? Come on. 300 DP with DPI is it DPI?
Oh yeah,
300
No,
DPI
wait.
was enough. Yeah,
We
now,
didn't-
man.
Who
You
achieved
know,
velocity? Is that
roads.
real? Did you see the latest comment that they've got a new book coming out, or is that a joke?
what happened?
Huichumi Wase, Unplugged: Psychedelics, Farming, and Crypto, is the three pillars of freedom. A new book by Sir J.
Oh,
Barra.
nice. Oh, that's
nice.
cool.
This will be fun. I was thinking about writing a book on it too. I mean, I have
So
all
he's
the
got
technology.
RH and SEC stuff in it. That'd be interesting. I'd check it out if that's real. If you're trolling me, well done, because I bought it.
Check it out.
All right.
Cool.
Was that about dropping LSD while farming on PulseX or what?
Dude, that sounds like a good time. I could farm all day. Technicolor.
Johnny Chaos is in it. Ooh, the first book with
Coffee's in it. Chaos is in it. What? No way.
But-
Oh,
Am
I'm
I-
in it. I thought I was in. Like I
in.
was exclaiming
mentioned in the book.
positivity.
Shumawasi.
Cool.
You don't like me, so you didn't put me in it, did you?
Dude, I don't want to be in
So-
anything. I don't want anybody to make a coin about me. I don't want to. That's why I didn't use my real name in the credits of Highest of Stakes. I would like to remain a little anonymous. So,
All right, can we pull up RH's latest tweet?
What do we got?
What?
I don't
Such
know.
expected
Trade
500
mode
Wait,
X.
what?
change.
Trade mode?
No,
Come on.
That's what trade mode
What are you
says.
doing?
Trade mode is
No.
legit.
You mentioned
saw-
trolling, and then people start trolling.
Here they
right?
come. It's like I saw. Hey, here's a true one though. I saw Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle this past week in Ohio, so that was super cool. And I did not get the opportunity to shill to them. I was hoping I might be able to meet them after the show, but no luck this time.
I guess they'll have to buy higher.
Yeah, right.
We got trolled. The son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Trade mode.
The trade mode, James.
I was worried that RH got bearish.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Only
right.
500
No doubt.
eggs. What?
No doubt. Yeah. Kid would be crestfallen.
Well, hey guys, a great show today. Final
Good one.
thoughts and where to find you.
Vibes.
I'll go first. You guys can find me at Brisology on Twitter. I'm gonna be rewatching the movie Speed tonight with
I may have to
Keanu
watch it
Reeves
too. It was pure
Dennis
genius,
Hopper.
man.
and
A
Sandra
box of
Bullock,
Kleenex and a
all in
bottle
their
of Jergens.
prime.
Whoa.
And yeah, steak long, steak hard, get some Hex, NFA.
I am at Tobiwan Hexobi. Tobiwan_Hexobi on X. Occasionally here at the good graces of my good friend in real life, Matty Allen, with the Game Theory Gang bros, Crispy and Briz, always a highlight of my week. So, and the chat's always a great time. So thank you guys for having me. It's always fun.
It's been a pleasure. Hexfire.io here on YouTube and Twitter. Or go to the website hexfire.io for the analytics you need.
You can order Hijacking Bitcoin by Roger Ver on Amazon now. Hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Hi everyone in the Hex community. My name is Roger Ver. I was the first investor in the cryptocurrency ecosystem and a long time other participant in the cryptocurrency ecosystem who really did a good job of convincing me to make a video for all the Hex fans out there today, even though I'm trying to take a break from social media, everything. But just want to congratulate you guys on raising, I think I read $27 million for SENS. That's a really big deal and a really big amount of money, and so thank you and congratulations for that, since that's something I'm also interested in. Anyhow, I haven't had time to follow Hex real closely, but from what I can see, you guys are trying to build faster, better, cheaper, more reliable payments and a platform to do all of that than everything Ethereum could do and then some. So just want to congratulate and cheer you guys on when it comes to those goals that you have, and wish everybody the best of luck in the future, building a better world for all of us to live in. Thank you all so much.
Store of value, store of value.
Look up the Japanese word sanduku.
No, don't do it.
You guys
Do
are
it.
still live. So much.
Sanduku.
And we're live.
I don't know what that means. but I'm
Upload
scared.
us on the blockchain.